So here's the paper, and it's in landscape. Landscape is when it's wider across and shorter up and down. So we need a space for the line called a horizon line. So I went, I guessed where my midway would be, and I went a little above it. And that's where the ground and the sky meet. Ground, sky. Okay, now we're going to make a little stream. It's a wavy line. Notice how I didn't go across directly. I let the stream kind of curve down. Or it could be that it's curving away, going that way. I think I'll now put our campsite. We're going to need a tent. You can use a ruler if you want. You're going to have two angled lines. One. I went above this line and here. So I made this upside down V shape, or an start of a capital A, I don't know. So they come to a point. And now I'm going to make a line that kind of tilts up from here to there. So I don't know if you can see that. So I have 3 lines for the tent. And then the last tent line, well, not really the last, this line is going to be parallel to that line, meaning they're not different widths. They're the same width between these 2 lines going down. I only have a little distance to go down anyway, so it works out. Now, this one off the page, you can't see the corner of the tent there. Now, I've got a line that's going to be parallel with that one. It means they're going to be the same distance, approximately. And that's the side of the tent. I think this one's too long. I'm going to push it up some, maybe there. And that's the opening of my tent. Now, you can't see the horizon line behind the tent anymore. You're also going to have these little drapey things that come down where the tent opens. Easy little curve lines, starting at the tip, going down, around, in there. They almost touch, and then down, around, in there. So we know this is the opening where you get in and out of the tent. Okay, we're going to have a campfire. So we're going to put some rocks. 1 rock. It doesn't have to be perfectly round. It could be more oval and a little crooked. Another rock. Now, you could put a rock here on the side. They're overlapping. That means it looks like this one's in front of that. And then I have another one kind of here. Now, normally we would finish up and put all the rocks, but we're not going to see that because we've got to have the sticks and wood. And I'm just going to put a curved line here and go there and there. That's 1 log. And I'm going to have 2 lines here for this log. And then they follow up. See how they're really 1 log? And then I'm just going to curve it. 2 logs. If we want, we can have a third. here, a line there, and a curve. In an ideal world, this would all be one log. Okay. So we have our logs. And now we are going to add a tree. So I'm going to put my tree on this side because I have the tent on this. And I'm going to start and go up. And you're not going to see the top of the tree. You're only going to see the trunk. When I cross the horizon line, you can't see it anymore. So there are a lot of things here already that we can add texture to. And this is the sky. If you want, you could make something in the background like little hills. So we have two hills. That's just a line going up, coming down. Then this one kind of looks like it's going behind, and then squiggly back down. So that's pretty much all there is to drawing this. Now we're going to look at texture. Texture is when I make something look like if you touch it, it will be, I don't know, soft or fluffy or hard or slick or gooey. So in this one, we're going to take a look at a log. A log would have little lines going up and down in it. It might have this kind of little line that curves around and back up. And it really helps if you look at a real tree or logs. But that would be what we would do to add texture. Same with a rock. A rock would be, I don't know, broken looking, edgy, cracked. Maybe it would have hard little lines in it that would produce a jagged look. Or it could be more of a smooth rock. A smooth rock would be colored differently. Okay, let's look at bark on a tree. This is a fairly large tree trunk. Bark could look like that. And to make it look like bark but not have to do the whole tree, sometimes you can just do little parts of it and not have to do everything. Maybe you'd have one that looks like it's being peeled off of the tree. So that could be bark. We are also going to make a branch. A lot of people make mistakes with branches and they start right here. We're going to start here. Usually they get thinner and there's usually a branch off of another branch and another branch, things like that. So two coming off, curve. I've added a thicker branch with another branch off of it and then a small twig-like branch, and this one. So now that we've looked at these surfaces, things that, might look like when you touch them, we're going to look a little bit. I'm not doing everything but grass. Grass can be shorter, longer, wavy. That would be something that looks like it might be soft to step on. Texture. Now we're going to look at flames. Flames are very ethereal, meaning they just kind of move, and there's usually no rhyme or reason how they move. And so you can overlap these little in to make it look like fire is coming from the logs that are being burned. Now, we're going to look at this creek. This creek is wet, of course. You could put some rocks in the creek bed if you want, maybe a bigger one. Notice I didn't make it round, and I curve and then curve. Now I can put little rocks if I want. Can vary the size. And now to make it look like the water is running, we just create this kind of swirls. And we want to make it look as if the water's moving. Which direction, I'm not really sure. You don't want any angles. You want more smooth curves. So that might make it look more like water. What else? We need some texture in the mountains or hills. There can be lines here, maybe here. Maybe you have some trees here. Even clouds have texture. So I could make a cloud behind here, and it is supposed to look more fluffy. It doesn't have to be rounded like you normally see. It could be something like wiggly lines. And now, if I want to, I can add texture even to my tent. So say my tent is made of some kind of material. I can do these lines close to each other, and then I can cross over it. It's called cross hatching. That looks like it's made with material. The more I cross, the darker the value will get. Remember, values how dark or light you're producing with whatever it is. So look, that looks fun. Now, I feel like we could do something here. We're just going to make a happy flower. Loop, bloop, bloop. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the center. I'm so glad you joined me for part 1. Next time, we'll be coloring with colored pencils and blending.